Broads Media.
Yo, what's up? All right, listen, before we get into all the fun, because this football team, ew! This football team is ew! They are gross! It is so sick to watch. If you are new to the channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Really appreciate all of your support. Hit the thumbs up button as well. And you can take me on the road by going to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, any of your podcasting platforms. Search Sports Talk with Broads. You could subscribe over there. Leave a 5-star rating and a review. That helps out the algorithms more than anything. So thank you all so much. And real quickly, I have to tell you about my new friends over at bookies.com. When I tell you that they have so many beautiful opportunities to get some nice money on sports books with some sign-up bonuses. They give you all the best offers on the market, and you won't miss out. This is game-changing stuff. And if you click the link down below in the description, bookies.com/broads, and sign up through that link, it will help out my relationship big time with them. But in the sports betting world, you get the opportunity to start out with a nice push in the back, right? Nice little push forward. We're helping you out here. And you can take a look at all of those options and what will make most sense for you. Dude, Bookies provides the best sign-up bonuses, in-depth reviews of online sportsbook, analysis on games and future odds, and so much more. So with that, love you guys to death. Really, really appreciate it and enjoy the show. Yo, boys. This defense. Jalen Carter. He gets held every play. That dude is more than a force. He's more than a fucking wrecking ball. He's more than a game wrecker. I don't even know if there's real words to describe the craziness that man provides on a football field. Same applies to Zach Bond. Same applies to Quinyon Mitchell. You got Flowers out there complaining his ass off, going, he held me. No, let me fucking tell you something. You're going up against a different beast. You're going up against the best defense in the world. That's without Brandon Graham. That's without Darius Slay. That's with losing Reed Blankenship mid-game. It's funny. We thought this team would play strong offensively. Top 1 or 2. And then the defense only had to be middle of the pack. Now, I'm watching Jalen Carter and Nolan Smith force field goals because they're able to cause havoc in the backfield. And then now a long-distance field goal before the half, and the Ravens miss. And by the way, not for one damn second do I want to hear anything about luck. They got lucky. No, Justin Tucker sucks. Justin Tucker blows. Justin Tucker misses field goals all the time. That's who he is now. It's like, if you go up against a bad secondary, you're not lucky. That's the team and the flaw on the other side. Heading into this, if you said all we got to do is one, bring the physicality. Be the more physical team. But 2, defensively speaking, if you force them to take field goals, you have a magnificent chance of Justin Tucker missing. Because that's going to be their kryptonite. That's been a problem for a while now. And it deflates them. Could be 15-0, 9-0. And when the game was 9-0, I actually want to give a ton of credit to Nick Sirianni because his decision to play the field battle game, that's what changed this entire momentum. Another bad offensive start, 3 and outs almost every time. When you do get a double-digit yard pickup by Saquon in the run game to start the game off, you follow that up with passing to Paris Campbell, Shipley, and Britton Covey. So, yeah, there's problems with this offense. But let me tell you something. They're timely. They're timely. They had 3 good drives in this game that were so timely. So, Nick on 4th and 2 on the 42-yard line elected to play the field position battle game. You end up getting the Ravens down to the 1. Now they have to start a drive. Well, after that, bada bing, bada boom, Goddard, nice touchdown, 9-7. This puppy's a ball game again. And Lamar Jackson had a golden chance for a big chunk play, overthrows. The next play, there's a problem with an exchange. Now you're hurting your team significantly. 3rd down, you got to pick up a huge first down. They couldn't. Momentum started to swing. You could tell when the Eagles defense settled in. And quite frankly, Jalen Carter's such a monster that on the first drive, after Milton Williams almost sacks Lamar, he escapes to his left and makes a crazy 40-yard bomb downfield. Sometimes you just tip your cap and say, it's going to be one of those. Hey, that's going to happen. That's why he's in the MVP race. Milton Williams a half second away from bringing Lamar down. And it's like, here's a huge sequence. Jalen Carter gets a big stop at the line of scrimmage, even behind the line of scrimmage, forcing the Ravens to settle for 3. If they punched it in there, could have changed the trajectory. This defense is crazy. I know they got a late garbage touchdown at the end. The Eagles just stopped the Ravens' high-powered Derrick Henry Lamar duo, and that combo held him to 12 fucking points. That's no joke. No joke. Cooper DeJean is picking up Derrick Henry and tossing him to the ground. This team's tough. And you know what? Part of their offensive gimmick is they wear you down, right? In the fourth quarter, it took longer against this good Ravens team than it did some of our previous opponents. It took us a while to grind them out. In other games, it would be maybe right out of the half, maybe a couple minutes into the third quarter. This one took a bit. But when Jalen Hurts was able to connect with Goddard on 3rd and 7 in the fourth, follow that up with Saquon starting to open up the gashing. Jalen keeps it. He's gashing too. You saw a few of those in a row. You got the timely drive and the timely, overwhelming offensive line in your face. Saquon just put up 100+ against a team that allowed 77.9 yards per game. That's how much they were allowing per game. 77.9. So for him to have a hundo plus against this crew, it actually holds more weight. And I thought they had that good drive. AJ over the middle consistently. Worked other ways and other avenues to help out, maybe 5 yards for Saquon here, 5 yards for Saquon there. Hurts keeping it for 3. I don't understand why the offense is so clunky, even without Devontae Smith. I get that he plays a monster position for this club, but at the same time, it's not right. But let me tell you something. There's not a team in this league that can stop what Lane and the O-line does. I sound like a broken record, but that's really, truly where we are at this point. Nick Sirianni said his message all week long was we have to be the ones to dictate the toughness, the physicality. Well, if you're allowing Lane Johnson, Mailata, Mekhi Becton to do that to you over 4 quarters, there is not a team in football that can hang. I bring up my buddy who lives in Detroit all the time, right? When there were 2 or 3 minutes left on the clock, this man hits me up with a LeBron James gif going, "Ooh, I'm scared," sarcastically. Let me get this straight. The game's not even over yet. Your team already got the dub. Now, Eberflus made such an egregious decision. He got fired and at least could have went to overtime. Who knows who that would have panned out? How it would have played out by the end, I don't know. Maybe the Lions still win. Lions are vulnerable. They know it. This was supposed to be the game the Eagles dropped, by the way, because, quote, they can't win them all or eventually they will lose. Let me get this straight. If you're ever going down with, hey, they have to lose at some point, right? And not giving me real football reasons on why they're losing, they're not losing. They're not losing. That's devaluing who this team is. They are a great fucking football team. They are a Super Bowl contender. Teams see the way they're playing right now, and I'm not just saying this because I'm wearing Eagles goggles, okay? Every single team in the NFL right now, if they were to face up against the Eagles, I bet you internally they go, oh, shit. This is going to be hell. It may be the last team you want to see because it's draining. It's so taxing. They have things with Jeff Stoutland University that no organization has in their back pocket. This is different. You just did that against that Ravens defense in the run game. It's a big deal. And it's even more difficult when you are sitting on the bench the whole third quarter where you're barely getting any first downs, and then it's a gotta-have-it drive. I remember going, this is a huge drive right here for the Birds. Bang, 7. Okay. Well, in the fourth quarter, it's a big drive for the Birds. Boom, 3rd and 7. Jalen makes the throw. I mean, I don't know how many more times I can scream that, Jalen this, Jalen that. When Jalen has the moment, when it is the gut test drive. Big third down with his legs. Hands it off a bunch of times. Has one throw when he needs to have it. I don't know what to tell you. This is who they are. And that defensive front, I could point out Nolan Smith. I could point out, the Josh Sweat penalty got negated, right? Because of Avonte Maddox. I don't ever want to see Avonte Maddox on the field again. Does anything good happen when Avonte Maddox is out there? Every time, here's a flag. He's getting cooked. Dude doesn't have it. Why do we continue to call his number? But to their credit, Quinyon Mitchell, Cooper DeJean. Look, the Eagles fans too, by the way. It was so loud on TV. I was told it was going to be an overwhelming experience. As if there's ever a building this organization's afraid of. All they're used to is running out the away tunnel and seeing 6,000, 7,000 Eagles fans just around the tunnel going, you know what I mean? They're going bonkers, losing their mind. That's just around the tunnel. It got so heavy in Eagles fans' favors that I didn't know when Cooper DeJean hit Derrick Henry if that were Raven fans showing that they were upset and there was displeasure with the offense and the going for it on 4th down. That wasn't even a competitive play. And I'm glad that they ended up not having the interception so we could get the ball and take over on downs. But, were you booing your own team or was that Eagles fans going, Coop? The Eagles sideline was going insane, as they should. Because what this team just did defensively, this is a masterful performance. Vic Fangio is a god. He's a god. I don't know how Jonathan Gannon was ever labeled a Vic Fangio guy. All these guys that are like Vic Fangio. There's nobody like Vic Fangio. There's nobody like him. This is insanity. And I love it. Everybody seems to fall in the same trap. With about 10 minutes to go in the first quarter. Oh my God, this game's going to be a long day. Don't you know anything about them yet? How many times are you going to do this? Let it play out. I would understand if the team hasn't shown what they've shown us since the bye week. But come on. They settle in. You can feel the turn of the tide. They win fourth quarter. Saquon. Every week. They just did it on the road to the Ravens. I was told Lamar can't lose to a team in the NFC, which is the dumbest stat I've ever heard in my life. As if a team in the NFC in 2018 or 2019 has any relevance to Zach Bond, to Saquon. Zach Bond's everywhere. Zach Bond is absolutely everywhere on the football field. He's everywhere. You want to talk about luck, right? Because, they got lucky. They missed field goals. No. The Ravens are lucky. The Ravens are lucky that when Ringo gets a big-time forced fumble, which goes right back into the hands of the Ravens. Bond gets in there and forces the fumble. They did it 3 times. What are the odds that the other team knocks out and punches out the football due to their excellence? It wasn't some fluky, they just muffed a punt. This is the Eagles forcing that to happen and putting the pigskin on the carpet for a chance. What are the odds it happens 3 times and you fall on it every single time? So that's luck. By the way, Jalen Carter gets held every play. It's actually going to be impossible for referees to call it the appropriate amount of time. Let that sink in. We have a defensive tackle that is disrupting at such an elite pace that the rules of the game won't even allow for him to be that stellar. You know what that is? That's an Aaron Donald. That's what that is. I mean, that's even a jump above a Fletch. And Fletch was great. But I've always said, if Jalen Carter could put his game together, we're replacing Fletch and some. And I'm not talking about the late stages here of Fletch. I mean the real whole package of Fletch. And Fletch is an all-timer. Fletch was viewed very highly. Jalen Carter is a force. He's a force. This defense and their personality, I mean, I am in love. I legitimately smile by myself in the dark late at night just thinking about who they've become. Just thinking about that swag, that cockiness. There is so much belief in that room. You could smell how contagious that feeling is. Everybody plays with it. Nolan Smith has that edge now. Nolan Smith, my man wasn't even close to having an edge at all 2-3 weeks into the season. And going back to my buddy's text, he goes, why aren't you in first place then in the NFC if you think you're all that? I said, they fucked up in September. What do you want me to tell you? They were 2-2 at the bye, but this team has completely established a real problem for every other team that's facing them. And they're not the same team that played in week 3. They're not the same team that played in week 4. They're not the same team that played in week 2. That September was gross. And they're paying the price right now by 1 game. But I know, I truly, really do know that everyone else who's fighting for a top AFC team, a top NFC team, they do not want to see the Eagles continue this. I gave so much love to every single one of these defensive players, right? So not only do they have that going for them, but for the first time in how long, we're discussing MVP that isn't a quarterback. We have that guy too. So that's how elite and rare we're discussing one particular massive addition to this roster from last year that happened to crumble. I was told all week they are going to fail. They haven't beat good teams all year long. I'm sure a lot of you have taken that heat too. So you can't backtrack anymore. If this game was about the Eagles not beating any good teams prior to this one, we beat Cowboys, we beat Cleveland, we beat some of those teams, although Washington, still a good team. They're not in the elite class, but they're not a dumpster fire by any means. So you're able to make that quarterback and that offense with Terry McLaurin being a non-factor, not even being able to get any targets because of your greatness. And also, now you have a Ravens squad on the road with one of the most high-powered offense that's getting compared to a special Rams group for the all-time ever statistics offensively. And you just beat them on the road. And I'm supposed to take you seriously? Come on, man. Come on. Hey, listen, we're going to take some anytime hotline calls here. Really excited to hear from all of you. Before we do, though, my friends over at Garage Beer, they are the best on the entire planet, and that beer is the best light beer on planet Earth as well. Dude, when I tell you it is 0% IPA, so you don't have to worry about that at all. It's 100% light beer, and when it goes down the esophagus, it's like, oh my God, this is the best light beer I've ever had. It's 1,000% quality. DrinkGarageBeer.com. If that's not the best ad you've ever heard, then calls. Let's take some phone calls, shall we? Let's go to the Anytime Hotline.
You know, a great win for the Birds. What a beautiful game of football. To me, I think the story of the game was which team made the big-time plays. Which team came up clutch. We knew these were two very good football teams, well-coached, experienced, Super Bowl caliber teams. But, if you look at how the game went, when we got in the red zone, when we got our chances, we were scoring touchdowns. When the Ravens got their chances, they were taking field goals. And by the way, Justin Tucker is washed officially. It is over. And, our defense, they have been so desperate. When the Ravens decided to go for it on fourth down at their own 40-yard line with 6 minutes to go and all three timeouts, I knew the game was over. Even if they converted that, I just knew it was over. Because they knew that they were beaten. They knew they had to go for it and that there was nothing they could do. And that's a loser mentality in my view.
Well, I don't know if that necessarily calls them a loser, but I do think it was time to show desperation, and they showed desperation. Yeah, you're down the score that you're down. There's about 6 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. We sort of got to have it right now. So, it reeked desperation, but they were desperate because the Eagles were playing smash mouth football and running it down your throat, and Saquon was heating up. And when Saquon gets to that level, nobody stops him. Once again, it just took a little longer to get there, and it took us deeper into the fourth quarter than we are normally accustomed to because our opponent was better than some of these other teams. But it shows you that the second best run defense in the league won't be able to stop it over time. And if they did things differently in the passing game, then maybe it could have happened earlier. Maybe because certain passing plays played such a factor that you didn't run it as much. But if you did stick with it differently in the beginning phases, maybe by midway through the third quarter, the wear and tear would have happened. And if they are to see a team like this again, maybe they emphasize a different blueprint. I don't know. The beginning of their games, it never makes sense no matter what they do. I don't think they've ever actually got the right decision and the right call from the beginning once this season. But it doesn't really matter because once the game gets established and once there's a turning point, the Eagles are the ones to apply the pressure to force the turning point to happen. And before you know it, they're up 7 points and the other team has to go for it on fourth down on their own side of the ball or on their own side of the field because, the ball's at the 42 and it's their last crack at it. But then Quinion is playing lockdown. Cooper DeJean is picking up Derrick Henry with textbook detailed hitting. That's one that you show the kids. This is how you put together a tackle. This is how you smack somebody into the dirt. Someone who's huge, just a big specimen. You just socked them. The rookie Cooper DeJean, the Swiss Army knife style guy that could play around the defense because he's just a playmaker. He's just an intense player that is always there to make the hard-hitting play, to make the right special play, to make the detailed play. That's what he does. And he's a rookie doing this to Derrick Henry. Outside of Saquon Barkley, there's not another man who is capable of doing strong things like that. The rookie is stopping him. To put it in perspective, I don't think a soul stops Saquon. Imagine if a rookie did. In the flat, wide open, let's say. I'd go, holy hell. People don't do that. I'll say it for another week. Credit to you, Nick Sirianni. Credit to you. I know I'm not breaking news here, but what he had to deal with, and I thought it was rightful blame at the time. I'll never go back and change my opinion on that. But I'll tell you what, handling that is not easy. I mean, I said I couldn't really figure out a way to describe Jalen Carter's greatness. Same applies to the level of scrutiny that Nick Sirianni was facing. It's hard to even fathom the intensity that it was. And it was coming right off of a year where it did impact him so much, where he lost everything. And this guy rattled off this many wins in a row. It definitely dazes me. It does. But I'm watching a team that is so powerful. I'm watching a team that is so great. The man had the answers. Again, he's done it a couple times now. Flower speech. The buzzed head. Think about how many buzzed heads in South Philadelphia, on Broad Street, you name it. Parade, South Jersey, Delaware, Delco. Think about the buzzed heads that are going to be partying a little later on in the winter after he brings it home. You kidding me? Who said that? You kidding me? All right, let's go to Tyler.
What's going on, bros? Or should I say Barkley bros? If everybody's a Barkley guy, Paul Heyman guy, I'm sure you know what the WWE is all about. We are Barkley bros, and that's all there is to it. When it comes down to it, this man cannot stop barking. Saquon barking, Barkley fights as well, dominating, coming through like a bulldog, just smashing through everything. The bombarding Barkley. Like, that's just a simple way to end the conversation right there. The only thing I want to worry about real quick is the slow starts, and some of the defensive people are getting injured, but we don't, what's the guy, Cooper DeJean? I think he's the one who got injured, or Quinyon Mitchell. So long as they can just stay safe and not get injured, that's all that really matters. And if we can put the engine on full choke so we don't start slow every game, because it might bite us in the ass in the future, but...
Listen, real quick. Quinyon did get injured. He came back. Reed Blankenship had the concussion, and you could see Cooper DeJean in the play on the broadcast. They showed him. He was waving to the trainers and holding Reed Blankenship up. So the second you saw the concern on his face and making sure someone gets over there quickly, you kind of figured it would be rough as Reed then went to the blue tent. I am definitely more willing to have the talk about injuries. Not more than discussing the slow start thing, because the slow start is real, but not that it can't ever bite you in the rear end, because it can for sure. But I just feel every week, and I'm not really lying here or making it seem bigger than it really is. It's every week. Every week, I get that. I get, well, my first concern is, well, my concern is, well, my concern is, well, my concern is, my concern is. Well, if we have to keep talking about the concern and it's not the kryptonite. It's not their downfall. It's not what's holding them back because they're winning on a week-to-week basis. They dominated that Rams team on the road. They beat up on a Commanders team on Thursday Night Football. The lights were definitely shining bright, and what happened? You went out and destroyed an NFC East opponent who was making some noise on being this new exciting team with this flashy quarterback, and you made him look so quiet that people were questioning if he was even healthy or where his ribs were. There is no concern anymore. They are just a great dominant team that wins games. Their defense is too good for that to ever hurt them because your defense keeps you in the game, and not only that, even wins you the game. Jalen Carter doesn't make sense. Jalen Carter is a force. He's a force. Teams don't have that. Teams don't have Quinyon. Quinyon's doing things we've never seen someone this young do every week. Did you see the frustration in Flowers? That man was whipping the buckle off his helmet. He was swinging his shoulders in frustration, was talking to himself, getting all pissed. When you're in jail and the handcuffs are on, nobody gets by number 27. And the fact that he's number 27, which is perfect because of Malcolm Jenkins, totally different players, but that attitude, for 27 to go to him, I think there's a correlation in the football gods. That's all. That's all I'm saying. All right. Let's finish things out here with Ryan.
Yo, it's Ryan in LA. I was at the Greyhound. Dude, this team, they have what it takes. This was the ultimate test. This was the game on everyone's, predicting win-loss list that everyone was a little questionable on. That everyone was like, maybe they can't handle that one. That's going to be the tough game. This is the hardest game of the season, best game of the season. This is the biggest win of the season. The Birds have what it takes. I love this team. I believe in them. Go Birds.
I love that. I love ending on that call. I couldn't agree more with you. Every time we look at a team and we go, I don't know, this could be the one they fall. I always want you to reflect and think about what the other team is thinking when the Eagles are on their schedule. Ooh, that one could be a loss. If not, that one could be ugly. We don't ever say ugly. We say that's going to be a good battle. That's going to be something sexy to see how you match up against a team that has a run defense that can, quote, stop you. They can't stop you. They cannot. Saquon Barkley had 100 again. 100 sounds like nothing because my man just came off a game of having 300 plus. 300 yards. Now he gets 100-something on a team that averages less than 78, which means it means more. It's even better than that. If you can do that against the second best, I promise you the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, they don't stand a chance. Nobody does. And that's the beauty of this team. And I couldn't agree more that they have the it factor, man. They really do. All right, everybody, that's going to do it. Appreciate you guys hanging out with me. Go Birds. We'll be talking about this team all throughout the week. I guarantee you that. Have a great rest of your day, everybody.